Nigeria needs an investment of $2.3 trillion over the next 30 years to close its public infrastructure deficit. And that's according to the reviewed National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan. That figure comes down to around $150 billion spending annually. Let's bring in the experts to chat to this. Welcome my guest from Chapel Hill, Denham. Phil Southwell. Phil is a partner at the Investment Banking Group. He's also the chairman of the Nigeria Infrastructure Development Fund. Great to see you on the show tonight. Phil.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good tonight, thank God it's Friday. So let me start with the NIDF. How did your fund perform last year? And tell me a little bit about that, and how's the current year, 2023, shaping up so far with the fund?
Okay, so the Nigeria Infrastructure Debt Fund, the NIDF, has been around now for 5 years. And every year we've had very consistent performance. And we had the 5th anniversary at the end of June this year. And as at the end of June, the fund has delivered a 155% return since it was launched. So we're really pleased with that performance. But the best thing about the performance is not just the return, it's the fact there have been no non-performing loans, no NPLs. So you have this rare mix of having a very, very strong return and very, very low risk doing it. So we're really pleased with that, and we're really looking forward to the next 5 years and to deliver the same performance.
Interesting. About how much assets under management are you talking about for the NIDF? Give me a figure.
So NIDF is just under 100 billion naira today. The vehicle, the investment vehicle, is already listed, but will be listed on NGX at the end of this month, start of October. And that process, I think, will very much help broaden the universe of investors who will buy it. And we're also in the process of launching our 9th capital raise. And that 9th capital raise will increase the NIDF to about 125 billion.
So, Phil, what new thinking and funding options do you think we can put on the table for the government to ramp up on its infrastructure deficit spending? The annual figure is about $150 billion. What do you have in mind?
Look, I think there are many things the government can do and are doing. I think one of the most important aspects of the infrastructure spending is obviously to increase the number. And the best way of increasing that number is to blend capital from the government and also from the private sector. And obviously the government have a number of requirements they want to meet, and the private sector have a number of requirements that they want to meet. And so it's important, I think, to marry those two ideas. And that's something that we're able to do in the NIDF. And that's also something that we are doing with the InfraCore process that has been launched by the government. But I think there are two other areas I'd like to highlight. One other area is really the importance of developing the regulatory framework for the country. And I'll try and picture that for you. I sort of think of the telecom sector in Nigeria and just how successful the largest telecom companies and the largest towers companies have been in terms of accessing almost 100% of the population. I would like to see the same result in other sectors like power. And so I think it's really important that the government work with the private sector and with the operators to find ways of creating that regulatory regime. Because once that happens, that makes it a very strong platform for investment. And then final short thing, I think currency really matters. If you invest lots and lots of dollars into projects that receive a naira income stream, that is a real problem. And so one of the things that we introduced with NIDF in 2017 was really the importance of offering long-dated Naira to support projects. And the moment you do that, the whole economic rationale of these projects changes and becomes much easier to do. So I think it's really important that the government continues to pursue that.
But what about investment trusts? What more would you like to see, Phil, in our marketplace in terms of their innovations and what are you folks working on at Chapel Hill, Denham? You're going to list the NIDF. That is good. But what else are you bringing in as far as the infrastructure funding market in Nigeria is concerned?
Okay. So the investment trust behaves and operates just like a company. It lists on a stock market, it raises money, and then it invests that. I suppose the difference from a company is that the investment policy is very narrow, and lots of other service providers like trustees and custodians control the day-to-day activity of the investment trust. But the investment trust, like NIDF, allows investors to invest in asset classes that they are not able to otherwise. It's very difficult to invest in a project finance loan. Pension funds and retail investors don't have that ability. So you need a trust-like structure to give you that access. We also have a REIT, NREIT, that will be listed later on in the year, we very much hope. And I think the direction of travel is clear. When I go back to the UK, I see that 1/3 of the companies listed on the FTSE 350, the 350 largest companies in the UK, are all investment trusts. And that brings a degree of diversification, which is really good for investors. And so that's what I very much hope we will see happen here in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to follow you to the NIDF listing on the NGX. Thank you. I'll see you before the exchange. Thank you, Phil, in the next couple of days and weeks down the line. Thank you so much, Phil Southwell, partner at Chapel Hill, Denham.